confession. This is an important aspect to this type of magic, because the closer you are in tune with your own structures, the more clear your question and your inquiry and your identity is going to be when maneuvering through the power structures. Okay? Now, to give you an idea what the power structure is on a influential scale, so let's kind of flip the script a little bit. Good. What you have on the timeline management side of things is where we are with the dark arts, right? Because the dark arts control time. They are known for having access to this realm. In fact, that's what this realm basically is. It's like the negative to all the positive that we witness, all the color that we witness. So this is the recording of it all. This is and the recording is in loops. Okay? Like toroidal. That's what time is. So it's like the negative that we discussed to the image of a old photograph. This is how we have access to everything, because we can reproduce it and recreate it from the negative, which is time. Now, time records it through a thing called magnetism and frequency. Okay? So it's important that we have a relationship with this, and where we are in timeline management is we are in what you would be calling the rewriting of the public narrative. Now, this is an important stage in development, because what's happening is it's like when you make a sculpture, you have to chip away the big pieces. And when you're doing that, you're actually you're changing the ice, so to speak, from one form to another, but you're trying to keep its integrity, because you are trying to build something, in your opinion, that is beautiful. So all this stuff that's happening in the world, if you will, especially here in America, and that's affecting others too, it's a rewriting. It's a secrets revealed moment, if you will. And the definition of a real secret is held by an experiencer. And the experiencer was there. They were present. They witnessed the growth and the expansion, and they saw the conversion of energy and what that energy purchased and was utilized for, and how the money coming in may have been used for shoes instead of guns. The money coming in could be used for sunglasses instead of bulletproof vests. So you see, it's actually the responsibility of the individual and the games in which they want to participate in, and what kind of players they want to be. Now, humanity is built actually very specifically. We can pretty much do whatever we want with these bodies. I don't know if you've ever had a little bit of fun one night and just searched the internet and looked for amazing people in the world, and you find some crazy stunts. I don't know if they still allow those kind of things on YouTube anymore. But in the early years, there was some stuff on the internet that you could watch that people did that were just amazing, actually. Truly amazing what our bodies can do. You should learn how to use these things, these bodies, these wrappers, these organic molds. Because when they work together, they can accomplish great feats, great strengths. So use it wisely, tune it, shape it, mold it. These words are important and they have been demonized for a reason. Okay? There's a reason why certain words that we use have multiple meanings. The words that have multiple meanings, there's a secret built in that to share with you, that these are power words that have been attempted to be corrupted, and that corruption has actually turned into a strength. So words will teach you a lesson. Do you know the word with the most definitions in the English language is? For an example? I do. It's the word Set. S-E-T. Anybody know who the god Set is? Just saying. In addition, do you know the longest word you can type with your left hand on a keyboard? This day and age, I suspect not very many people do anymore. Listen, to hold you back from Googling it or anything like that. But it's the word stewardesses. That's an important word. We're not allowed to use that word anymore. A steward. You know you are not living in freedom anymore when there's certain words that you're not even allowed to use. For example, there's a word that I'm learning about right now. It's actually a word that Germany used in the 40s, maybe even earlier. And it's a word that can't be used any longer, anymore, without contempt. That's why confession plays a critical role in your magical practices. Now, confession doesn't necessarily mean you need to tell others your story. It means you need to tell yourself. It means you need to come to grips with reality in your own mind. Okay? Critical. Now, the warrior for this is very powerful. So if you choose her as your guide, as your teacher in this type of magic, you will perhaps weep. You may sweep away all those dust bunnies, all that dirt. It's okay. Recognize it. Learn of its color. Learn of its nature. Learn of its properties. This is why you have the elemental hypertech system, so you can really understand its core and have what's called a relationship. To relate, the key ingredient of what you receive as a reward, which is memory. That is its single reward. Access to memory. What does that mean to you? What can you do with that? You guys are aware, I'm going to make this a really long video. I feel like talking, there's a lot to confess, right? You guys can turn it off at any time if you want. I'm just going to keep rattling on. I have no script. I have nothing here with me. I'm just speaking from the heart in this moment, because I asked for something yesterday in humility, reverence for this type of magic in which I'm in process with. Because, see, I've said all along, I practice what I preach, and I am an adventurer, an explorer. and I collect. And what I actually collect in time, you hopefully will come to enjoy and appreciate things of this nature. But what I collect is magic. Delicious. And there are certain people in the world that are rare. One may call them a blue diamond, just a friend. Some may call them shamans, warriors, mages, kings. There's many names for them. But when you really get down to it, you'll find out that in time, there are certain players behind the scenes that nobody recognizes. This is very important. They are not recognized for a reason. They are not recognized now. But in time, their magic and their influences play a role in others. And there's a thing in time called the Akashic record. I would call it an archive that everybody has access to. It's open sourced, okay? All of our actions, all of our deeds, everything. It's all there. There are no secrets. Transparency is a way of life, okay? This prevents a consuming corruption. And this allows for the one thing that where we are in the matrix is critical to understand, and that is from the words of the Lash factor is called correction. The Lash factor is a correction process which uses the feminine energy as its modus operandi. And I have been very reluctant to share this with you, this magic with you, because this magic is what I would call a working magic. In other words, it fucking works. And I use that word specifically because that word has also been demonized, and it belongs to Mother Earth. Maybe that's why you're not allowed to say motherfucker. And you know who I'm speaking to right now, brother. I can feel you. And I know you see who I am. So it's good to see you, brother. And to all the sisters out there too. This magic is actually for you. Because you're the ones who will be able to understand it. You will be the ones who will have the wisdom to be able to use it. Unfortunately, the masculine energy is not quite ready for this in the grand scheme of things. But it's okay, because there are always some who will. And the ones who will get a relationship with desire. The ones who will, from their heart, will have a relationship with pleasure. Because this is the art of Tantra, which you know that if you've followed me long enough and you are following my keys, is the name I give the feminine sun in the sky. You see, Gnosticism is actually a derogatory term, but there are those who wear them like badges of honor. It means know-it-all. But it's okay. You know, that's not necessarily a bad thing. But the reason why a Gnostic would consider it derogatory is because the first rule of Gnosticism is, you don't know shit. The second rule of Gnosticism is, you still don't know shit. All right. So, having a relationship with the elements is critical to building the structures you need for your life's journey. Because everything is built off these 4 elements, including your 4 senses. Not 5 senses. The 5th is like the movie The Fifth Element. And there's critical pieces to the puzzle encoded in that movie. So I highly recommend it. It'll build an archetype that is necessary to have an understanding of the blueprint in which humanity is being managed and cultivated for harvesting. Okay? Because there are people who enjoy the game so much is that they play it as if it were a game of world domination. Now, if that bothers you, then fucking do something about it. Don't whine about it. Many of you do actually do something about it, so that's why I'm here. I'm doing something about it, right? But I'm not talking to those people. I'm talking about the ones that I would put in the whiner category. Because we are in the actor category. Not actor as in what's going on in Hollywood, and that will just get worse and worse. That is going to be ugly. People look up to people in Hollywood. These are role models, right? We want to appreciate them. And those secrets have revealers also. And so does Silicon Valley, but we're not going to go into that. I don't want to black pill anybody. You can get plenty of that out there. But what I want to do is I want to give you the tools and instruments you need to bring magic into your life. Now, the only way you're able to do that is to have a relationship with the thing that created magic, that's responsible for magic. And the reality of that is where the Lash factor comes in, because the Earth, Mother Earth, she is magic. Now, if you don't have magic in your life, it's because you don't have a relationship with her. You've done the Disney, what I call the Disney spell. All the movies of Disney, the mother dies or is dead, gone, missing, something happens to her, something like that, right? And almost all Disney movies I remember growing up. So that taught me this lesson of the absent mother. So I would say that most people don't have a relationship with Mother Earth, so therefore they really don't know what magic is. Because I hate to say it, but the only reason why any of us, any human being, has any semblance of magic in their life, it's not because of anything other than the earth and her attention and love for you. Because strangely as it may sound, is whatever you want, she will give it to you. And she is so revolutionary, so maverick, that a lot of people out there don't actually know what they want, and so they have a lot of chaos in their life. And in her love, and in her arousal, which is the moon, by the way, arouse, unlike the sun, which is Tantra, And in her arouse, she gives you chaos if that's what you want, because she is wild. She is natural. She is naked. And all she wants to do is cover you with her organic love. Science would call it flesh. The largest organ of the body, by the way. I'm realizing I'm talking on forever and I'm just rambling here, but this is confession. So, the Lash factor, to finish off all of this, to give you at least something worthy of educational in, is correction, is what this science is designed to do. Okay, correction. And in that correction, there is this component that is almost like a string that runs through it. So it's always touching, which is the fifth element. When you bring all the four elements together into the five, the fifth element, that is you, and that is touch and reach. What a gift this is for you. I hope that you use it wisely. I hope that you touch many things, many lives. And those ripples, those wakes, will be felt in time. Because that is how correction works. If we want to change the loops of time in which we find ourselves in, like petals of a flower, if we truly want to build a renaissance, then we must put into practice the things that we know to be correct. Now, I found a mentor a while ago when I was doing some research into scalar weaponry, because weather control is a key component of future technology. And that scalar research was done many, many years ago, and I look at the world today and I just shake my head. Because you all out there know that this stuff has been released. Whistleblowers, all sorts of people who aren't getting paid anymore, right? They're like, hey, I ain't getting paid anymore. I need to tell people what I know. So they go out there and tell people what they know, and then they just get trolled. Nobody believes anybody anymore. It's okay. This is why I'm here, actually. Confession. This is the third confession, so that's it. After this, I'm done. The reason why I am out here doing this is because nobody's listening. I know, it's a secret. I just have to share it with you. Do you really think I could have got this far in teaching these practices if I had a ton of people on here? The thing is that I've been very fortunate up to this point, but things are starting to change rapidly. So my time is becoming very, very short to talk about this stuff. If I had too many people, too many eyeballs, too many questions, too many things like that, then we would have gone off in so many different directions that we would not have made it this far. So, there are very interesting people who follow this channel. And because I get the notifications of who subscribes to my channel. And just so everybody knows, there's been some really interesting characters and personalities of great influence here. And I'm curious on this part because I thought this community was a lot bigger, so to speak. I don't know how else to explain it. I didn't realize that the players in this type of realm are actually very small. And a lot of them know each other. And just to be clear, every time I find out that somebody is related to somebody else within the community, I do the opposite of what I preach. So I know this may be hypocritical to some. That's why this is confession. is I immediately back away from them if I see that they are associated with other large personalities that provide similar venues of influence. Because that is not what I'm looking for in time. What I am looking for is uniqueness and novelty. Terence McKenna was such a personality. Would you agree? Because this community is small, I know many of you know who Terence McKenna is. I would say David Icke, he had his time. He was an important role model. There is another who is alive today, which is what I'm gathering now, why I'm here talking to you about this and discussing this with you, is there's another personality. And this magic is a magic from what he would describe as the losers. What he would describe as the violence against not a religion, but a wisdom of the earth. Now, why is this important? This is important because the earth, in her infinite wisdom, has populated the world with people. Lots of different kinds of people. Again, every continent we've discovered has a different type of person on it, a different anthropoid. Okay? Some big, some small. Some hairy, some not. Some that look like fetuses with big black eyes. Anyway, we're not going to go there today. Just freak half you out. So, the point is that there is a magic that is universal. Now that word has been taken. When you use magic, I use universe in the destructive arts as a you versus me. Universe. You versus me. And that is how you dominate when that feminine warrior energy needs to come forward. There is one, she is responsible for this one. Now the one I'm currently on, just to add the end to the confession, is Kali in the first position. And Kali has a very specific emotional tone to her, I've come to realize, because that's who I'm working with right now. I find her to be quite fascinating and quite strict. There is no mercy here. But the one thing I do find most valuable is the emotion in which she freely gives. And I'll share that with you, because when you get this emotion, you know which power you're conjuring. And each one of these beautiful, beautiful goddesses like that, I think that sums it up nicely. Nature's spirits has their own emotional quality to them, and the one that I'm currently working with again is Kali, and her emotion is rage.